Which one products turn around this? I
know that when you came to there, you want to start the page. אבל מה לא לפי? בסדר. Have schut with this. Okay, get us a tshuva. We're holding the second Pedic. Pedic Bays.
Page 182. Yes. Okay. That's not $100 in burgers.
Not really. Not really. Summary of Pedic Aleph. Summary of Pedic Aleph. The Alter Rebbe said that people think that tshuva is a tough thing. The Alter Rebbe says that tshuva, the ikenin of tshuva is azivus achet. The Alter Rebbe brings several rayos from Sukkim. Not that there is not parts to tshuva, shleimus of doing tshuva, but tshuva itself is azivus achet. Maybe if you hurt someone, you steal something from someone, you have to return. It's like zayla. There's other things that have to do around. There is in the Torah it talks about mitzvahs vidui. That's not part of mitzvahs tshuva. Tshuva is azivus achet. That was the nakuda of the first Pedic. Pedic base.
What was that?
Kol zelinya and kapora mechilas oven. This is talking about kapora and mechilas oven. Shenimchila legamri, that they totally forgive to the person. Mashaover a mitzvah samelach, the fact that he was over on the command of the king. She also tshuva shlema when he did tshuva shlema. And they don't mention anything to the person in the Yom Adin. And when it comes to Olam Haba, he's totally potter min adin. Why is it Olam Haba? Why not Olam Haza? What's pshat tshuva shleima? Shasa tshuva. So we've mentioned before that in about the first Pedic. Before I go, I just want to back up a drop. There was a beautiful story that the Rebbe told once. And if I bring in the summer of HaTeshuvah Yud Aleph, the Rebbe said that the Tzemach Tzedek had a brother-in-law. Rabbi Yaakov Yisrael Cherkas is actually a father of many of the Siddish dynasties today, son of Motla Chernobyl. And they were brother-in-laws. They married both sisters of the Mittler Rebbe, the daughters of the Mittler Rebbe. And they used to learn together b'chavrusa. Agavs, the Rebbe told the story that they used to learn together, and there was in a Beis Medrash, there was a person that was complaining to them that he fasted so many days, and he learns Zohar and the Tikkunei Zohar and Sifrei Kabbalah, and how come he wasn't Zochia to have Gilui Eliyahu Hanavi? So this is the story the way that Rebbe said. So the duo, it's a Tzedek, just a funny story. It's a Tzedek, you wouldn't think. And Yaakov Yisrael of Cherkas, these are Go'inim v'tzadikim. We're young, it was like a bissel gestift. And they said, you know what, let's do a favor to the seed. So it was the middle of the night. They went up to Ezes Nashim. They wrapped themselves up in white sheets, and they called the guy by his name. And the guy said they didn't call him Rebbe. There's Psalosh in the Zohar, Shmamino, that this is Kutchabrichu. And as soon as he looked up, they poured water on him, and they said Toher Toher. And the next day, the person came over with he was Simcha Gedoyla. He was thrilled. He told them Hitaka wasn't Zeicha Vagil Elio, but he was Zeicha something even bigger. The Rebbeinu Shalom was Mizgalat to him, and was in the way of Zarak Telechem Haim Toirim et Yahar.
He was playing a game or meant it seriously?
No, he meant it seriously. They were playing a game.
There were two of them.
There were two of them. The two of them,
So two people.
Yes. Malachim.
But I don't understand. Somebody want Gilu Eliyahu, go to a lot of Brit Milah. Maybe you find him there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it soon.
Oh,
He's
there, the Brit.
So what happened? That there was the Tzemach Tzedek. There was once a discussion, said the Rebbe, about a shoichet. Oh, so why did the Rebbe tell the story? Because there's a tshuva Simon Lamed Hey in the Noid of Yehuda, where he says that tshuva is a very nice thing, but the Bezin Shalmata ain't no demideh masha believe shechaveda ain't ladayin elav masha ain't rose. You could just what you see. You can't see if a person did tshuva. You can't quantify it. Bezin can't act on that. So the Rebbe said that there was a story that there was a shoichet and there was edus against the shoichet, whatever, and fractions of the shoichet that it was not trustworthy. So Mosedek Paskin that was also to eat from the shechit of the shoichet. Rabbi Yaakov Yisrael of Chakas wrote a tshuva, and he said that this shoichet is such a tzaddik that shchitosai he ka'oilo kekorban. That this shoichet is such a tzaddik that his shchita is mamish like a korban. So the Tzemach Tzedek wrote straight back, Menei Ubei, he said, Ma oila bekorban asurim bezman hazeh, kach shchitosai shel zeh asurim bezman ein. He said, just like a korban oila today is also, the shchita of this shoichet is also. So the Yaakov Yisrael wrote back a note. He said, but the shoichet came to me, and I read his forehead, and I saw on his forehead that he's clean. It's unbelievable. Rabbi Yaakov Yisrael said such a thing. It's a note that he wrote. Well, I saw his forehead, and it's clean. So the Tzemach Tzedek said, how do you know that he didn't cry and cry and cry and wash off the sins from his forehead? So it's nishkenaya. And there's a L'Shem Oizen, there's Reb Zalman Duchman, who tells us a similar story, also about the Tzemach Tzedek, about a woman. There's actually a long tshuva in Tzemach Tzedek about a woman, her husband, there was an issue.
My uncle, Shai Hawaii, he was named after Shai, after Shalakir. I think he was Nifta on the same day, and he was either bris or he was born on the same day with Shai Gimel year. And he never went in front of the Memphis Salosa. And the Al Tahaim, they knew they didn't want him to read. He's a little boy, but that was our saga they had in Sadiq.
Yeah.
So this is a W2 in the Kaiser. The Stern. Stern mit Averis.
No, we find Taka that Izal, that Chaim Vital says that he was able to read in the forehead of a person. So Reb Zalman Zuchman writes a story in L'Shem Oizen that there was a woman. Like I said, there's a tshuva, long term Tzemach Tzedek about Taka, a woman that he writes that she's a surah labayla because there was an issue. So Motala Chernobyl wrote to the Tzemach Tzedek, but I met the woman and I could see on her forehead that she is pure. So the Tzemach Tzedek wrote back a note. How do you know she didn't cry and wash up her forehead with tears? So the Rebbe back to the Sikha. So the Rebbe says that's the diuk. V'nifter lagamri menadim ba'olam haba. Ba'olam has a. I guess that throws a. So what's the pshat? Yes. So what's the pshat? So the pshat is that how come the Tzemach Tzedek still? So why was it Tzemach Tzedek so stubborn about this? That Tzemach Tzedek, why he couldn't read someone's forehead? So why couldn't the Tzemach Tzedek say, okay, let the woman come here, and if he doesn't trust in a Motala, or he doesn't trust in the story of the Shoichet, Rabbi Yaakov Yisrael Cherkasset, why doesn't he say, send the Shoichet to me and I'll look at his forehead? Elamai, Tzemach Tzedek did not trust him about the forehead. That wasn't the issue. He said, I don't care. Because when it comes to tshuva, it works good to wipe it away by Olam Haba. But when Olam Haza, when there was a edus in front of the Bezdin, so the Bezdin has to act on that. However, said the Rebbe in that Sicha Moed de Kavod, that usually this is an unusual case about a woman with her husband or a sheichet. Right? Usually we're talking about things that a person says type malchus, or one of some worse, maybe misa d'shemaim or choruses, or maybe even misa from Bez. So when calculasenu takanasenu, that when is it true that the attitude of the Tzemach Tzedek, like you see in the Tshuva Noda B'Yehuda, that's true in the Zman of Beis Hamikdash, or Zman when there was a Beis Nagodl that sat there in Lishkas Hagos and so on. So that time it couldn't say a person did tshuva, but Mashenkin Bezman Hazeh, because calculus and attack say there's no such thing. Everything can be fixed with tshuva. There's no such thing that a
Why
person
then not?
can't fix it with
Why
tshuva.
this is English?
Because the Bez Nagodl doesn't read a forehead. The Adam came, and that's it. And that's the Duke and the Alter Rebbe. That's our advantage. Exactly. That's the point. That's an unbelievable advantage that we have now. Let's continue.
What's the lashon davar b'chatzidov?
In Gansen, that's it's just an expression. No, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
It's not like
Du weißt doch, so the word from Naftali of Rovshitz. They say that the Shoyim, even a Pischa shall Gehinim, they don't do tshuva. So Naftali of Rovshitz said why? I mean, they're already smelling Gehenim. They're taking them down 100 feet below. They took them in the elevator. They already opened the doors. They smell the fire. No, why don't? So he says, these Rishoyim, they think that they're such big tzaddikim. They took them down to Gehenim, that they should schlep arois at lachayitn for Gehenim.
So how Bnei Korach, from the Tzemach Bnei Korach, them at Shuvah,
Omnam kishayir lerotzen lefnei Hashem umerutza lechovev lefonav. No, I'm sorry, I didn't answer Shaila. Said a milsa the b'dechusa. Dovor means taka, that they don't take, they don't give them a punishment. Chatzi dovor is, there's a concept that sometimes a person that's brought in Sifrei Musa, that the person doesn't really need Gehenim, but he needs to be walked through the Gehenim or near the Gehenim, a peaceful Gehenim. He looks.
by a korban, if somebody made a bear that he was in Sofek, that would be in the fire jar.
Okay, verstehe. But if you're asking what's Dovor v'chatzi Dovor, I feel like playing it, guys.
This is chatzidov.
No, Chatzi Dovor is fakir. There's less. Chatzi Dovor is Chatzi. Omnam shir lerotzen lefnei Hashem merutza lechovev lefonav k'choyedem acheid. In order for the person to be that the Eibishter, that it's precious to the Eibishter, as if he didn't sin altogether. At least the Eibishter has pleasure of his avodah as if he never sinned. So for this, the person needed to bring korban oila, even for mitzvah, which is something which is kal compared to other avodas which are strict. Shem Bakoris of Mrs. Bezdin, Kumashdoshra Basena, Razal, Veteris Kainam al Posik, Venirtsaloi. That what does it mean Venirtsaloi? That the mitzvah say, if a person transgressed the mitzvah say, he would bring a korban oila, Kedisa Begemora Perikamadis Vochem. That the Gemara says it in several places, Dafdala, Dafed above, the oila Mechaperis al mitzvah say. For a mitzvah loitis, that person brings a chantas, and that's an obligation. But for mitzvah say, a person does tshuva, but it's voluntary to bring a korban oila. It's a voluntary thing to bring a korban oila. What's that? So what? Monofshech. I have to understand. Torah says a person transgresses a aveda, and he brings a chatas. It was b'shoigig. He brings the korban chatas, and that's machaper. But mitzvah say, we say tshuva is good enough. So what's the korban? But not yet the Gemara says that a korban oila that a person brings v'neder v'nedava is to be mechaper on a mitzvah say. So what's the pshat? The Alter Rebbe says the pshat is like this: v'hidoyrim la'achar she'osa tshuva v'nimcha lo ya'oinish kodem she'sorach b'melech u'faiso yadei praklitin u'machaloi. The Alter Rebbe gives a mashal: a person that did something against the king, and he sent a praklitin. What's that? A lawyer, a messenger, and he appeased the king, and the king really forgave the entire sin. He sends a gift to the king after the king forgives him. That the king should be willing to this person lead his pnei melech, that he should be able to see the king again. So even though the king is not angry at him, the king said that he would forgive, but the person wants that he should be merutza v'chaviv to the king, as if he didn't see it altogether. So Mamela, he sends this gift to sweeten everything. The Alter Rebbe says, "V'loshem machaperes." When over here we say bechaper, it doesn't mean to atone for a sin, like by a korban pratis. Kema shekosa b'toyra v'nirtzle lechaper olav, by a korban oilo, when it says v'nirtzle lechaper, einzo kaporas nafshe. Elo lechaper lifnei Hashem lis nachas ruach lekoine. Kedisa Hashem b'gemara, kema shekosa, as the pasuk says, tomim yiu lerotzen, that it's to have extra rotzen from the Eibishter. So that's the idea of a korban oilo. Korban oilo was never to atone for the sin. Tshuva atones for the sin. Korban oila was something extra, like a doiron, a special gift that a person gives to his friend. They had an argument at something, and now they forgive each other. But for it, he wants to sweeten. He wants to make everything. They're going out to a restaurant. They're going out, everything nice, and I'm taking you out for dinner. Huh? Exactly, to find chen.
But it doesn't have to do akarat hatov.
know.
He can forgive him.
I
Do
don't
akarat hatov.
know. I don't know. You say he wants to have, it should be lerotzen k'makoydem achet.
The word oila is everything to Hashem, not
So
one way.
So that now with the korban oila is kerotzen lifnachet. After shein on the korban, l'hofek rotzen Hashem. So now that we don't have the korban, so we don't have this ability l'chorda to bring back this chain that we have with the Eibishter, to bring back a goodwill with the Eibishter. Tainus subemakom korban. So today we have a tainus. That's what a tainus is. In other words, Alter Rebbe is bothered. L'chorda in all the Sifrei Musar and in the Shulchan Aruch, if you look in various simonim, the Shem Hashem Lamed Daled, and there's a Shem Samach Gimel, and this is only in Orach Chaim and different places, Nebnei Ezra, Chashemish, but it talks about fasting. So everyone got it wrong. Everyone got it wrong, but yet the Alter Rebbe in the first Perek says that Tanesim v'Segufim, Segufim the Alter Rebbe totally holds is terrible. Tanesim, but there's nothing to do with tshuva, zero to do with tshuva. It's like if you look at Perek Aleph, there's really mitzvahs tshuva, there is shleimus hatshuva, which is maybe charot ala ovar, vidui, kabbalas dvorim. That's at least, the cream around the tshuva. And then there's things of zero shaykhs to tshuva. Zero. Tainus is zero. What do you mean zero shaykhs to tshuva? It sounds that way. If you learn every Shulchan Aruch, if you learn the Sifrei Musar, it sounds, Alter Rebbe says that's not wrong. That the tainus is a different thing. Tainus is a very side thing. The tainus is to, just like the korban oila, to after the tshuva is complete and after they wish to forgive, we're going out for dinner. We're going to have drinks together. That's what the tainus is all about. That's why the Gemara says, the Gemara says that she'emiut telbi v'dami shenisamat ki ilu hikrafti lefanecha, that I fasted. So Mamela, there was a decrease in my chayla v'dam. So we asked the Eibishter that this should be considered as if I made a korban. Well, what do you want to ask?
What's the ikkeres again? Kabbalah Salas?
Aziv zachet. And we said around it is the cream. There is.
What's Aziv zachet in my son?
What he said last week. He said that he makes he's going to believe shalom. Val Yosher, but look, he's huh? No, he makes the decision going forward. He's gonna accept the yoke of the melech.
If somebody that stops smoking, when he stops smoking, when he's
Exactly. We find that there's a lot of tenoim and amiroim shall go dover kal, that even if it was a dover kal, the transgression was something so small, they would fast. Not stam. It was taniyas harbe moed, many taniyas k'moed b'lazman azaya. Shemata shepora yoytze b'ritzu sheben karneh b'shabbos. The b'lazman azaya held it was permissible for a party to go out with the ritzua in the karnayim. Now, for what reason would a person have? It was so pashtus for yoifi, whatever. It's like a hair bow, just like a girl could have a hair bow in her hair. So the owner of the behema wants to put a nice bow on the karnayim of the behema. So Chacham said it was asu. unless pockets for Shemitah, and then they drilled a hole in the Karnaim. But otherwise, if it was just for beauty, was also why the Chum said it was skid. You're going to go after Saddam, it's going to fall off. He'll pick it up and he'll put it in his pocket accidentally, and he'll forget and he'll carry in Shabbos. The Gemara says that Rebbe Elazar and Azariah disagreed. Rebbe Elazar and Azariah disagreed, and they had a very fierce argument. And Rebbe Elazar and Azariah and the Chachamim. And the Chachamim oiser. Once his neighbor, the potter, went out with a ritzua, and he didn't make a machav. The Gemara says, his teeth became black because he fasted so much, because he didn't hold up the words of his friends. The emissus, the Alter Rebbe is here making a fusion between a Bavli and the Yerushalmi. The Gemara in Yerushalmi has a machloikis. Why he fasted? What did he do wrong? So one opinion is that it wasn't to do with the Gemara. Why did he fast? What did he do wrong? So one pshat, the Gemara says that the Shechina allowed that the Porah should go out.
The other was mutter.
And even though he held it's mutter, he didn't do it because he listened to what the Chacham said. But his neighbor did it, and he wasn't moiche, so that's why he did tshuva for that. And the other pshat is that there's a different pshat. Something his wife did, and we're using Lashon Nakiya, like the story with Shimshim, Lulicharashtem Beglossi. But Alter Rebbe is accepting the second, one pshat in the Yerushalmi. Why? Because if you look in the Bavli, this is a story in the second Perek in Beit. If you look in Bavli, in Daf Nodal in the Shabbos, the Bavli says that Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah was so wealthy. We know Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah was very wealthy. We'll talk about it in a minute. He was so wealthy. In 1 year, Maisa Behema was 12,000 agolim.
Maisa.
Maisa Behema
How much he had?
was 120,000. Yeah. So that was just the turnover of 1 year. B'chol shaita v'shaita, every year he would have Maisa Behema 12,000 agolim for Maisa Behema. So why would only one potter walk out? So therefore the Gemara in Bavli says that it wasn't his potter, because then it would have been more than one. It was the Shechina. So it's a Dovakal. So he wasn't. He upheld in his own life. He disagreed, but his friend said that it's also for the potter to go out with the ritzua because it might fall out and it's accidentally. I'll pick it up, and he accepted, even though the Gemara says that they had a fierce argument, very very fierce argument, and yet he did not go against the words of his friends. But when his neighbor went against the Chachamim, so for whatever reason, he wasn't moicha. Yet later he did tshuva for it because he felt he did the wrong thing. So l'chayda, that emphasizes how it's a dova kal, like kal shebekalim. You disagree. Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, it's not like me and you will disagree. With Reform Rabbi says, okay, Abashi said like this, but I disagree. It's not like me and you are disagreeing with Rabbi Shmuel. Okay, it's very nice. The Shulchan Aruch said one way, but I disagree with the Shulchan Aruch. This is Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah in the Chacham. Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah was Nasi. We spoke about this before Pesach and Shabbos HaGadol. He was the Gemara says they made him the Nasi, right? So Areni Kiven Shivim Shonim. So still he accepted upon himself to do what the Chacham said, but he didn't enforce it on his neighbor. And still, because of that he wasn't moicha with his neighbor, he fasted until his teeth became black. Another story is that there was a story, there was a machloikes b'shamai, a whole story about, they said something which sounded off the wall. So Rabbi Yeshua said, I'm embarrassed to tell over the words of Beishamai, they're senseless. So there was a Zokan Echad from Talmid Beishamai, and he said, hey, hold your horses, come here for a second, let me explain to you. And he went through with him a whole cheshbon, and the guy said, oh, you're right. So he went to the cave, to the kvarim of the Beis Shammai, and he asked for mechila. And then he fasted, because he said words that are not respectful towards Beis Shammai. He fasted, and third story is that Huna, And once that the Ritzuv of the film turned over, the black, spoke about it recently in a program Rishon. Today, there's people that say, oh, a trick, you do black and black. So, however the two turns, is always going to be good. Does it work? It doesn't work, or whatever. Anyway, but it comes from this Gemara. We spoke about it recently. That the black is supposed to be in the outside. Behema was nesapech that the outside was white, and Mamela he fasted. And what did he fast? He sana mem the Gehenes Rabba, and from the Shas we have many other stories like this. So the Rebbe asks a shaila, why does the Alter Rebbe have to give 3 examples? The Alter Rebbe himself says Geheinu Rabba, so it's mother. It's true that the Alter Rebbe is trying to establish. I don't think the Chachmei Musa just cooked up things on their own. That the Alter Rebbe is saying that really, if you look through Shas, you will find that there are many stories in the Shas where there were Tanoim and Amoraim that fasted for small infractions. So you see that it's not Stam, even though it was Machadish, that fasting has 0 to do with Tshuva. Not only has nothing to do with Mitzvah's Tshuva, has nothing to do with Shleimus Tshuva, has 0 to do with Tshuva. Still, it's meaningful to fast. V'horaya, that it's brought many places in Shas. But why does he have to give 3 examples? He could say, look in Shas, you'll open up an Oitza Chochma, you'll do a Bar Ilan search, and you'll find all the stories, and that's very simple. So the answer is, so the Rebbe has a Biur Nifla and the Seib Kitzer, the Rebbe's Vort, that the Alter Rebbe is saying that even a Kal, something very small, and there's 3 types of Avedis that there could be, and there's Machshava and Dintibur and Maisa. The one hand, Maisa B'Poil is in the way is the worst thing, because that's what person is judged on. The other hand, Chazal say Hiruri Aveda Koshem Ba'Aveda, because Hirur is Koshem Megul Fishal Maisa. Why? Because a person's thought is a levush miyuchad with the person. So if a person allows that his mind, that things that are unholy should fester in the mind, so then it gets more glued into the neshama of the person. So therefore, it's harder to expunge it. So there's a things in machshava and in dibur and in ma'isa. The Alter Rebbe wanted to bring 3 stories, one for machshava, one for dibur, and one for ma'isa, to show a small infraction of machshava. A small infraction of machshava is like the story of Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. This infraction in dibur was the second story, which is the story of Rabbi Yeshua. And an infraction of Maisa is the story of Reb Huna, which is it's something that happened by Maisa. And another angle the Rebbe says is that who is Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah? Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah was a Kohen. How do we know Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah was a Kohen? No, just mentioned from the Agoda. Amar Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, Renik Kevin Shivim Shana. What happened? That they made him a Nasi. Why did they make him a Nasi? Because he was a Doira Siri LeEzra. And Ezra was a Kohen. So we know he was a Kohen. So the first story is a story with a Kohen. The second story is Rabbi Yeshua. Who is Rabbi Yeshua? Usually in Chazal, is Rabbi Yeshua ben Hanania. Kohen. Kohen, no. Only Levi gives Maisa. Levi gives Maisa. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah gave Maisa. Who gave him
rituals?
Oh, Meiser Behema. That he gave Meiser Behema. I guess a very good question. I don't know. We have to look in the Gemara. What's the story? How did he give Meiser Behema? Maybe it was voluntary.
Why?
He's not mechuyev. He's not mechuyev.
Kohen don't give any Maisa?
No, the Levim gave Meiser and a Meiser. Kohen were mafish.
Kohen need to give Maisa.
Sorry, Chian. What minds are? I hear it's a good question. Ein Sham, yes. Second is Rabbi Yeshua ben Hanania. Rabbi Yeshua ben Hanania is a Levi. How do we know? The Gemara in Erchen says a whole discussion that he had with someone else. It says, I'm in a shoyrim, v'atam in a meshuorim. Meshoyrim. That he was from those that were closing the gates in the Beis Hamikdash and guarding the gates. So we know that he was a Levi. And Rebbe Huna must have been a Yisrael, because the Tosfos over there, when he talks about how the Tzur was Nashapa, says that he was the Huna that was a Reish Galusa. Now, in order to be a Reish Galusa, you have to be a male descendant of David HaMelech, and obviously you're Yisrael. So we have here a story of a Kohen of Levi in Yisrael. But more importantly, each story is about a different type of a small infraction. One is a machshava, one is dibur, and one is a mais. That's what the Alter Rebbe wanted to bring from the Shas after these three examples and not different ones.
So why by him is a bit 4 weeks almost, but the other one it doesn't sound.
So the Rebbe says, you already asked, so I'll go into one more little beer nifla from the Rebbe. The Rebbe says that the could be the other one was also 40 tzaimas. Why 4? What's the Indian of 40 tzaimas is that we have Chazal. There's a Maimah Chazal that Truma is Toida Men. That there's the number of 40 is very strong in Toida. Moshe Rabbeinu. If you look, the 3 times he was in the mountain, he was there 40 days, 40 days, 40 days. The first 40 days they learned Torah. Yeah. The second 40 days was Mispalal for Klal Yisrael. And the third was V'salachti Kedvarecha. Torah has a very strong shaykhus to 40, besides the fact that Torah was given in the Har Sinai. But a lot of things we say, Adar Boim Shinin Loi Koimish Adati Derabe. There's 40, and then there's Tefillah, there's the Indian of 40. We find many Ma'amor Chazal. Tshuva, versteht some. We have exactly a tshuva. We have when we have 40 days of tefillah, 30 days of el tzedisimei tshuva. So 40. Why 40? Because 40 is bad. Some Chazal say, and we learned it once. That the baby in the mother's womb up to 40 days, it's Play-Doh. You know, a zocher could turn into a cave, and a cave could turn into a zocher. You know, once it's 40 days. If it's a zocher, it's a zocher. If it's in a cave, it's in a cave. It doesn't change. So something is formed in this, and on every level, something is formed. Dafke in 40 days. So 40 days, if a person fasted, it's a very big thing in the amount of 40. So therefore,
by Dina, she should be in the cave.
Right, exactly.
That's what we're learning.
Exactly, that's where we learn it from. Exactly. Okay, in Ravas, well, so it's a limit Razal, Arizal, but Talmid of Alpi Chochmas Emes, Misperatzoimus Lakama Avoinus Vechatoim. But Arizal taught his Talmidim based on Chochmas Emes, how many times a person has to fast for each one of the Chatoim. Afshem and Kodesh, what I miss is Bidei Shemaim, Kamoy, Alakas, Kufnu Nalaf Tanias. So the Arizal taught is Talmidim Api Chochmas Emes. What's the deal? Kulima the Arizal Talmidim Api Chochmas Emes. Person might ask, Sag the Rebbe. So Taka, we find a few stories in the Shas, but we never find in Shulchan Aruch and the Rambam an organized list of Taniyos. We find that here in Shulchan Aruch, but we don't find like a comprehensive thing about this. Right. Why? So the Rebbe says that's what the Alter Rebbe is saying. That even though we find it among the Tanoim V'Amayroim, but Hayos, it's not really part of Tshuva, so they never taught, the Chacham HaShas never told us a clear thing about this. If a Yid needs to know how to put on film, it's brought in Shas exactly how to do it. If a Yid needs to know Lamatas Malachas, the Masechet Shabbos will tell you clearly Lamatas Malachas. Hayos, this is not mamish a part of Tshuva. It's something which is nice. It's azaytik azach. It's on the fringes. It's not really part of mitzvah tshuva. It's not even part of tshuva shleima. So Chacham HaShas never taught it to us. However, the Arizal Chachmas Emes to his Talmidim who wanted to have the special aliyah. So for them, he taught them the secret of how many taniyas should be for each of these infractions. Vafila alisa the Rabbanu k'mistam yenim sana ein gimel taniyas v'chulu. Now, bittul mitzvah say the Rabbanon moy tefila yisana samach alav taniyas v'zmevatel mitzvah say the Rabbanon. For example, he missed the tefila, he should have a 61 taniyas. I mean, everyone would ask, "Hey, here the Alter Rebbe is talking." Didn't the Alter Rebbe? There's a famous letter the Alter Rebbe wrote that a person who says that tefila is the Rabbanon loro moedus miyameim, he never saw light in his lifetime. So the Rebbe says. Because here, first of all, the main thing is the Alter Rebbe is not talking about person decided not to be mispala. He missed the Zman Tefillah. The Zman Tefillah is definitely the Rabbana. So for this, the Arizal said that Samach Aleph Taniyas, but Derech Klal Tainis was Gulen Niflol is Galus Rotzen Alyan Baruchu Tmaya Korban. And besides what we just said and throughout the Pedek, there's another point that there's a soid in the Tainis, which is Gulen Niflos for Rotzen Alyan Tmaya Korban. Within the Korban Oila, there's 2 points. There is a point of a Korban Oila that a person, the king forgives him. But let's go out to have some drinks. That's number one. Secondly, no, there's really a segula nifloa to bring Rotzen Hashem, the Rotzen Elyon, to bring down this unbelievable revelation. Which supposed to be Shaya. Halozeh tikra tzoim v'yom Rotzen Hashem mechlal shatzoim anirtza hu yom Rotzen. Very interesting ride that the author was bringing. This is really a pasuk in Yeshaya in Kapitel Nun Zayin, and we read it in the Haftorah once a year, Yom Kippur. It's very powerful Haftorah. On the morning of Yom Kippur,
It's still with Jaina.
no, in the morning, Soilu Parnu Derech, which is in Yeshaya. It's a very, very powerful Haftorah, and the thrust of the Haftorah is that the Eibishter says, "What do I need? What do I need you to fast?" That the person is a lock of kagman oishoy, and he fasts, and he's doing all these, and he walks the walk, and he talks the talk. And David says, "Halozeh tikre tzoim v'yom ratzon Hashem." It's a rhetorical question. You think I'm interested in you fasting? Haloi proisla lo v'lachmecha v'anim merudim tovim voyis v'chesida oram v'chesiso mebsor chaloisis alem. On and on and on the pasuk goes. David says, "You think I want you to fast, and I want to sak ba'efer? I want that when you see a person that needs a sandwich, you put a sandwich in his hand. If you see someone without a roof on his head, you put a roof over his head. That you look throughout your community, you look among your relatives to see who needs help, and you try to help another human being." So the Pashut Pshat is, you think, am I interested in your fasting? Why are we reading it in Yom Kippur? It's obvious why we're reading Yom Kippur. Trying to say that
You're not taking a diet. No.
exactly, you're not doing a diet right now. But Oiba Zoi, Al Rebbe says, but you have to read the words. Oh, but still, you have to read the words. The words of the pasuk is Halozeh tikra tzoim v'yom ratzon Hashem, because you're doing the wrong thing. The Eibusha says you're going to call this a tzoim v'yom ratzon. In other words, if you did the right things, if you did invite the poor man into your house, you put a sandwich in his hand, you looked around the community, you helped your relatives, and you fasted, then what would the fast be called? It would be called a Yom Rotzen Lashem. So if you're fasting like a diet, if you're doing it the wrong way, the question is, Halozeh tikra tzoim v'yom rotzen Lashem. Mechlal says the Alter Rebbe, if you fasted in the right way, it's a Yom Rotzen Lashem. So we see from here that the fasting brings down an unbelievable rotzen from the Eibishter. It makes it an ace rotzen. So that's the 2 points the Alter Rebbe says in Perek Beis. True that fasting has zero to do with tshuva. Not only has zero to do with mitzvahs tshuva, zero to do with shleimus tshuva. But why is that fasting? So the Alter Rebbe says 2 points. Number one, like the mashal of the person that now with the king, that even though the king forgives him, he sends him a gift. So similar, that's what the Gemara says, that korban oila is for mitzvah sake. And the second point is that this makes an eis rotzen l'Hashem. The Chachma Musar had a dispute. A person that sinned many times the same sin. If he fasted, if he sinned, so he has to, if he sinned many times, he has to fast many times. That the Tikkun Tshuva that Rizal says that they should do 84 fasts. So if he did it 10 or 20 times, so he has to fast that many times. And what do they say? Dumya the korban chatos, chayiv lahavi al kol pam apam. They compare it to korban chatos. Korban chatos, again, it's similar. So obviously, it's not exactly similar because we said before the Vedic base. So it's similar to korban chatos that for every aveda you bring another korban chatos. You can end up walking into the base of mikdash with 33 karbonas, which are korban chatos. V'yesh medamin l'zel korban oila avo mitzaseh. Afilo over akama mitzaseh meskaper boila achitz ki isam gemara tzov perikama dezvachim. So this is the two opinions. So the achra mukubelas, there is achra which is acceptable, which is accepted to a lot of the Gdolei Yisrael. Lisana is gimel pamim kefi misper atzoymes dafeid to do the tzoymes 3 times. Hainu reishnum beis tzoymes al itzo shich vazer lo batolo shein v'chein b'shor patoyim v'avonis. For example, 3 times 84 is 252. That's what he's going to do for his Zohar Zelvatol. Atamu, Pimash Koza Bezoir, Kodesh, so Parshas Noach, Kivn Chov, Barnash, Kameku Chabricho, Zimna Chod, Ovid Rishimu, Zimna Tliso, is Pashat Hukisma, Sitredo, Sitredo. That a person, just like the Zohar says, that a person that gets a stain. So we have Baruch Hashem, an in-house professional on this. So if you have a stain, so the first time, it's a stain, you have to take chemicals, take it out. The second time is going to make the stain more intense. You need more chemicals to take it out. Third time, it's going to make the stain even more intense. You need even more chemicals to take it out. The fourth time, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, the third, they're all the same. It's the same amount of chemicals to take it out because it already went from one side to the other side of the cloth, from here to here. You can't soil it worse. It's soiled and ending. So then a person did a sin 3 times. So the blemish went with sitra, and that's it. So in order to expunge it, you need to have three taniyas, and that's it. Why do you give the example of Sheikh Zar al-Vatola and all the Yukim over here? What's the 3 opinions? So I spoke about it Shabbos by Mincha, and Mela, I don't want to repeat it. There was a beer nifla from the Rebbe that really every 3 shittas each have a mahalach. You know that in every chait there is an issue, and each shitta has a mahalach, and all 3 all 3 are true, and therefore the Alter Rebbe brings all 3 of the mahalchim. Calls up on the mechazikal body shein ribe atzemes mazikloy. Fall the bris gufa kamo bederes rishayim. Al mish ribe atzemes mazikloy. Shev sheshach alavel dechayla michash chaz v'shalom kamo bederes enuela. Also la harbes bataniyas. If a person that is going to fast, so the tzemes are going to be mazik to the person, and eventually he'll get sick. So people today are weak and they don't have the koyach to fast. So therefore, it's also la harbes bataniyas. I feel like Christ misses Bezdin. It's forbidden for him to fast, even if it's on a sin which is as tough as a Mrs. Bezin. He's only allowed to fast as much as he knows that it's not going to be mazik at all. Even the Zman HaShas was only those that were healthy and they had the power to do it. The lo if a person is not so healthy and he can't do it, the Gemara says that person is called a even if he really is not doing it as stam to make it a yom rotzen, he's doing it as
Instead, Tanit, you can give tzedakah.
Okay, very good.
But then for the chet of Tanis, yes, it makes sense.
Exactly. Okay, this is the Gemara Perikama Dezvachim Shein Lach Adam Yisrael Shein Mechuyev Asei. But still, the Gemara says that he's called a chayte. So if the Gemara says Ein Lach Adam Shein Mechuyev Asei, so why is he called a chayte? He's mechuyev for a korban oila. Kolshke Mishu Bal Torah Shechoite, person who can learn Torah, that when he's fasting, he's choite benenish bekiflaim kemachmas chalishus atainus lo yichol asa b'korah. My takanta. So what is the takana for this person? B'ksiv lachato b'tzedakah proiket. The pasuk says that he should redeem it with tzedakah. K'mashkosel poskim, and the poskim write about this. Litam about kol yom taina shel tshuva erech kai gimel poilish. It's a siman shin lamadal in Hilchos Shabbos. We talked. Where it talks about the person who needs to fast and he can't fast, so he should give Yud Beis or Chai Pshitim, which the Rebbe says that there was a coin then that Mogamar says is they were called the Oilish, whatever. But the bottom line is that the Pshitim is like a seller. Whatever we give 5 sloim for, or we do 5 sloim, we do the chumrah. But that va'osher Yosef kifi osher k'mashkos al-magam ram hilchas tainis. So that's what the Alter Rebbe says. Let's see if we can go through another piece.
Is for
In a second.
How does the stuck what for Tzazah told Tshuva then? How it's stuck?
Someone asked last week a very good shaila. Why if you go for it's brought that the person that goes to a Pidyon Haben,
5 slimes.
it's kilizana paid taneis. So I said I'm going to answer mitzvah HaTeshuvah Shiur. So they say from the Ostravtzer Rebbe that someone asked him exactly the shaila. That what in Sifrei Mutza talk about fasting. He said, I know what to do. I go to every single Pidyon Haben. So every Pidyon Haben is worth 84 taniyas. You can even have extra credit in the bank.
Covered everything.
So the Ostravtzer says, yeah. The lotion is ki'ilu tzom pei dalet taniyas. So the pshat is that there's avedis. The Chazal say ki'ilu. For example, kol hakoyes ki'ilu oved avodah zarah. So if you did a certain chait which is ki'ilu oved avodah zarah, then you could go to a Pidyon Haben. It's ki'ilu tzom pei dalet taniyas. That was his answer. Kol mokem. Let's see if we can get through this piece. Kol mokem kol ba nefesh. Chofetz, Bekirves Hashem L'taken Nafshi, L'shiva Hashem B'tshuva L'yuda Min HaMufcha, Yachmer Alatz, Malahashim HaKapon, Klamachas, Kol Yimei Chayv, Mispre Atzemis, L'kolov V'oven, Ma'avonis HaChamurim, Shechero Lam Misa HaKaponim, Afil B'dei Shemayim B'lavad, Kigoyen, L'tzoy Zel V'atola Pei Dalet Tzoyim, Pamachas B'mei Chayv, that once in his lifetime you should try to do it. Yochel Choyson Yom Makzonim B'chayrev, V'yisana Ke'esa Taniyas Al Derech Moshel B'chayrev Echem, Epochos, V'yigmar Mispar Apei Dalet Tzemes, V'tes Shanim, V'yoyse Kefi Koychay. Maybe it'll take him 9-10 years, and he could do the 84 fast. V'gam Yochel Echel Ma'ati Gimel Shos L'fnei Netzach Hama. V'afal Pikei Nefesh L'tainis Misani came, Isna came. He make a Tanai that we'll have to talk about this brackets another time. That because the fast starts from Alois Hashacha. But anyway, L'tashlum Reish Nebeis Soimes Heniskalil Yisana Oy Dalet Palmim Pei Dalet Dadach Chatzes Yem Belvad Nachshav Gam Kim Tanis Yishal Mobeis Chatzoy Yem Nachshav Leidlo Yem Echad. And 2 half days are considered like a day. Lin Yezev V'Chen L'Shor Avonis Ki Yitzon Mashakolid Yedei Moritz Navshe V'Chofetz B'Tzdaka. However, the bottom line is, as he's going to say later at the end of the Pedic, that for the rest he should give tzedakah, and that's the bottom line. So the Rebbe had
said on this chait also it's enough with tzedakah.
Oh, so the Rebbe said a few unbelievable things. The Rebbe said, it's not shy even a person to ask a person to fast. $8 taniyas, it's a lot, and it's not good. So the Rebbe said that a few unbelievable points. One is the Chassidah says that Yom Tov Shalosh Shabbos. Chacham said we don't want you to blow shofar. So Chassidah says, how could they take away such a special mitzvah? Because maybe someone is going to be metaltal the shofar the Aldamas Shterabim. But they took away Api Pnimius HaTorah, what a shofar accomplishes, it's unbelievable. How could they take it away?
And in Yerushalayim, we do.
Oh, so that's a separate beer. Why yet? Why this not? So the bottom line is, Chassidus says that the fact that Chazal said that you shouldn't blow shofar, it must be that Shabbos itself accomplishes the same as the shofar. So the Rebbe says, the fact that Bisman Hazeh Zicher, the Eibush created the world in a way that each should be able to serve. The fact that Bisman Hazeh, we're not shaykh to fast, so it must be that when we're going to give tzedakah, it will be just as good as fasting. And tzedakah, that we had it for bringing here Monday night. Rabbi Silberg mentioned what the Rebbe once said, that what happens if a person that doesn't have that much money,
How much?
so doesn't, I'll have to talk another time how much. The person that made the cheshbon after we figure out how much it is, and he figures out the Kenneth get Nazefel. And Shmulik sagt the Meise from this Mishpia, they cried when he would talk about it. He says, Zindiknish, if you can't afford it. Okay, that's for the Mashpia to say. But what the Rebbe said, look, the Eibishter definitely wants that you should do your part. So whatever money you have, when you give as much as you could give, that's what's required from you. That's what's required from you. And Mamela, that's true. Furthermore, the Rebbe said, we say, Kol ha'oisek b'toras oila ki ila hikriv oila. Kol ha'oisek b'toras chatas ki hikriv ila hikriv chatas. So when a person learns iggeres HaTeshuvah from the Alter Rebbe, it's ki'ilu he did tshuva. Ki'ilu he did tshuva. Kol ha'oisek b'toras tshuva. Ki'ilu also tshuva.
See, back to the Ki'ilu.
The Rebbe didn't say the Ostritz word. Misha mazel lo mazel, Misha mazel lo mazel.
Okay.
So Mele, it's ki'ilu. And we learned to get it HaTeshuvah. It's ki'ilu as HaTeshuvah.
Mit der Pedal meistens.
Yeah.
כאילו
So
יצא
the
ממצרים.
emes
Is
is
Christian
that the
telling me
Rebbe-
to also Kapari of a Christian?
we'll talk about Kisha Shalom later, especially for that album. But the emes is that there is a word. There is not one word, but there's a lot of times where the Rebbe told people, like there was a story of someone that was about tshuva, and he asked the Rebbe that he started to learn iggeres HaTeshuvah, and his rabbi told him that fasting there's no such thing as fasting as long as tzedakah. But he read iggeres HaTeshuvah, the Alter Rebbe does talk about fasting, and he was asking advice by the Rebbe, he would like to fast because he wants to do tshuva. So the Rebbe told him, you don't have to fast in a way that you're not eating any food. Just make sure that you're not those days that you don't that you're not eating cake and apples. Cake and apples. Person that left Yechidus, he said, "Wow, how did the Rebbe know the two things that I like to eat? Cake and apples." So I guess cake is not a big guess, but anyway. So the Rebbe took it off. Anyway, it's the point that the Rebbe said to him is really, if you think about it, sometimes fasting is counterproductive. A person starts feeling so holy that instead of the kindness having the right effect, it could have the opposite effect. We know that the Rebbe used to fast Bahab, right? After Hodai, the Rebbe spoke about Bahab. The Rebbe fasted Bahab. Besides all the Taniyas that the Rebbe fasted, the last few years it was Begoli B'Yadut to every person that Rebbe often eat. So in Mele, he fasted almost every day, but the Rebbe always fasted Bahab. So they once asked him if they'd be interested to make a minyan that they could read Vayachal. The Rebbe said, "No, I'm not interested." So L'choida, so what's the shot? So one way you could say, the Rebbe didn't want to impose on other people. But the other thing is, the other way of learning a pshat is that it's counterproductive all of a sudden. That the fasting, instead of you're not feeding the body, but you're feeding your ego. Simple words. So you're so the Rebbe's eitzah to many people that asked about fasting was, about Dvarim B'Teilim, about Lashon Hara, to fast with your mouth, or the same thing with, like I told this guy about cake and apples, or those people that, we're not going to eat this. No, just don't add sugar, don't add salt. I can have celery sticks for the salt. You know what I mean? It'll be just as good. So a person that could put any salt in his food, he feels like a tzaddik gomor. He put a little bit of salt and he supplemented with some celery sticks. Does he feel like a big tzaddik? His body is getting the sodium it needs. And the Viola, there was mute Chelbi Vidomi in a significant way. So Deb shall help and take that the best thing is the best word is we started learning iggeres HaTeshuvah before we even got into the meat. I mean, the meat of iggeres HaTeshuvah starts in Perek Daled, but we already committed to learn and we started to learn. So kol ha'osek b'toras tshuva kilu already also tshuva. We should have mela bizoicha from tshuva gets a geula that we should have a gula mitzvah shlema. We should have aksivach samatov and shana tov msukah.
Amen.
Every minute is precious. It's like the show, and the king is in the field, and he's smiling to us.
Now I can end the Zoom. Now I can end the Zoom.